Hi team, good evening to all. Myself Adivel and actually my co-presenter is Prasad. We are working in the Prasiban account. So today's session we are going to discuss about drift reduction on cloud formation. So cloud formation is one of the services is provided by the AWS. So in that actually specifically we are going to we're discussing about the drift reduction, the concept in that cloud formations. So before going to this prediction, actually, let me give some overview on cloud formation. So what is cloud formation? Actually, cloud formation is one of the service is provided by the AWS, which is we are using for to create the AWS resources by using the cloud formation templates, the stack sets. Usually, we do create the resources by UI. That is actually one of the, if you're going to create the multiple resources by UI means actually it will take more time. Also, we have some different regions, different accounts, like a dev account, staging account, sandbox, and the production account. So instead of doing, that is not an effective manner, and that is not a good approach. So that actually we have the cloud formations. The cloud formation is helps us to create the resources by using the cloud formation stack. Actually, in the stack, actually we can able to create in the two way. One is YAML file, one is a JSON file. So mainly is why we are using the cloud formation stack is actually it is reduce the infrastructure management. So we can able to focus only the operations in that one instead of actually managing the resource kind of stuffs. So in that actually we can the cloud formation is more helping in that way to reduce the complexity of the manage the infrastructure. The one more the key point is we can quickly replicate the infrastructure by the cloud formation stacks. So we can, if you are going to deploy the cloud formation stack into the one account, the dev account, we can the same thing we can replicate into the another account, kind of staging account. So that is one of the key factor in the cloud formation. The one more thing actually we can able to easily track the all the changes whichever we did in the cloud formation. That is one kind of things we can it is usable. The one more thing actually we can detect the change set what is the change happened over that we can update, we can modify, we can delete. So whatever that if in case if you are going to create the new stacks means if you want to update something, if you want to add new resource means actually we can do it very simple manner. So in that case actually it is very useful for the cloud formation stack in the service. So this is the how we are built, the how it is fit into the DevOps pipeline, the cloud formation stack. Actually, how we are going to roll out the cloud formation stack into the multiple accounts. So usually once we develop the scripts for the cloud formation scripts, it might be a YAML file, it might be a JSON file. We can do it in the two way. So if you build that one, whatever resources you want to create in the environment, so it should be some dev environment, staging environment, sandbox production. So instead of if you're doing in the if you're going to do it the manual means we have to do it manually. All the resources we have to create by manually in the UI. So to avoid those things, actually we can go for the DevOps pipeline. Actually, in this code pipeline, we can use this cloud formation stack to roll out all these things. Initially, we'll build the code, we'll build the stacks into the local environment. I will test it out. Then actually we will once we test it, actually we will push it into the code commit repository. That then actually on top of the code commit repository, then it's actually we have code pipeline. The code pipeline is built for dev staging and production account. Whatever the stack is, we are going to send only one stack only is only one stack only we are going to build, there's only one stack only we're going to deploy in the multiple regions. The same all the environment, the same resource will be built and the same resource will be deployed. So for example, actually I can say if you are going to build, we want to create an EC2 instance on Glue crawlers on S3 buckets and DynamoDBs means if you put it into the one template, the one stack, the same stack actually will be deployed to the dev account, staging account, and prod account. So name actually actually how it will be deployed actually I will show into the demo. This is how actually it is fitted in. It is best way fit into the DevOps pipeline. So if you have any questions, just stop me and ask. If you have any clarifications.
Vadivel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Vadivel. Karthik here.
Yeah, Karthik.
I guess I will understand this better when you show the demo. But just this piece of it. So you're saying you will create an environment by having those AWS resources. Where creation of environment itself is done through CloudFormation, which means probably starting a EC2 instance, an EMR thing, cluster, and things like that. All that can be done using CloudFormation is what you're saying.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And the moment I do that, it also gets registered into some kind of, I don't know, probably a configuration or a JSON file, which I can deploy in other environments also. Is that the right way to understand?
Yes, correct. The same thing, actually, whatever we deployed in that, the same configuration deployed into the staging environment, the product environment.
Okay. Okay. Is this only for infrastructure resources? For example, is it also for policies and things like that?
Yeah, actually, we can deploy the IAM roles and policies and all the stuffs. Actually, all the resources we can roll out by this CloudFormation template.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, this is very powerful, yeah. Then because then as part of DevOps, I need not have a way to spin up a cluster and things like that. So whatever I might do in a YAML kind of a file, I can basically, at least from a setting up the resources perspective, I can actually do everything using CloudFormation is what you're saying. And that is how it fits into the DevOps pipeline.
Yes, correct.
Okay, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. So actually what in the CloudFormation also we have some limitations to create the stacks and stack sets. The resource name, actually the resource we can create in a one stack, we can able to create up to 200 resources. The AWS resources. The resource means actually what I mentioned here, like IAM roles and policies and the crawlers, DynamoDBs, S3 buckets, Lambda functions, so on so. Up to we can create 200 resources. We can create in 200 stacks, the maximum in account. The stacks is actually we can create the stacks is up to 100 stacks that we can create. The instance actually we can create up to 2000 stack instance per stack. The stack only 128 characters. We can pass the parameters as well, up to 60 parameters we can pass it. This is the limitations of the CloudFormations. So while creating the CloudFormation stack, actually we have to ensure that. So this is the limitations we have. We have to cleanly know that actually what should we are going to do. So in the base, actually this is a base for that. Based on this, actually we can create our CloudFormation stacks. Next, actually drift detection. So drift detection is one of the good concept in the CloudFormation. Actually, why we are using drift detection in the CloudFormation? The CloudFormation actually it is fully managed by the admin person. So the admin person will actually only roll out all the resources whichever we want in the dev account, in the staging account, in a sandbox account, in a prod account. So in case actually in some scenario, if anyone updated actually we have some source we have created by the stacks. For example, you can take the IAM roles and a policy. By stack, actually we roll out the one of the role and the policy in that. So somebody came into the team. Actually, someone did some changes in the roles. They are deleted the roles. Some policies. If any case deletion or addition in modification. So we could not find out a way in a best way because we need to go and check by manually. It's tough to do it that one. So that actually we can do it automate way to find out that what is things is changes in that particular resources. For that, actually, we have find a drift detection. The drift detection is mainly used for to find out the which is the resources recently changed, recently updated. We can schedule it in the lambda function way, and find out the resources in case anything updated or modified or deleted. For that, actually, it is more helpful to find out the drift detection concept. Any doubt on this? This is the main focus for drift detection, to find out the updated resources in the whichever we deployed through the CloudFormation tab. So if you want to modify anything in the particular resources, we have to do it via CloudFormations only. We should not do it via manually in the UI. If anything done through the UI, I mean the AWS Management Console or CLI or any other SDKs, it will throw the actually message. Actually, this is a stack. This is a resources was got updated. To find out that actually we are using the drift detection. In the drift detection, we have some status. So if you are going to set up some drift detection for that particular resources, you can set up the drift detection for whichever resource you want. You can specifically set up some resource, IAM roles, crawlers, Lambda functions, S3 buckets, and so on. So actually, in the AWS, actually we cannot do the drift detection for all the resources. So we have some restriction in that. We have to only drift detection for the particular resources in the AWS. So for that, actually, we have some status. We are maintaining that overall. First one, actually, the drift stack drift operation status. Initially, we have three kind of status. One is detection complete, one is detection failed, one is detection in progress. So in the name itself, actually, we can it's a generic status we are maintaining in the AWS. If anything, if you see the serial number 2, drifted. In the drifted means actually it is say like if you get the status as drifted means it is say like the particular resources got drifted. That means actually it says like something got updated, something modified, something deleted. That is called drifted. In sync means actually the stack and whichever in the stack in the resource also in the same in the AWS console is the same. This is in sync. There is no updation in that. That is mentioned that. Not checked means actually this is for example if you the stack is not the resource is not added into the drift means it says like not checked. The drift status. Drift status. This is second row is stack drift status. Third one is resource drift status. The resource got deleted or the resource modified. The resource not checked. The resource is in sync. This is the status for resource level. The above one second is status for the stack level. First one is for operations level. These three status we are maintaining the AWS drift detections. This is generally following the drift detection concepts. Any questions?
So Vadivel, so this drift detection is a feature available within CloudFormation, is it? Is it like within CloudFormation, you can say, I want to do drift detection now. And then it will basically check and tell you whether it is drifted, not drifted. And I guess it automatically also does it from the background, I guess. Probably it polls all the different resources and then figures out whether it is drifted or not. Or basically it will say, okay, there is a EC2 instance that is there, which is not part of my setup list, in which case there is a drift. Somebody has created that EC2 instance outside of CloudFormation. So that's how it detects it. I'm of course giving you a very simple example. but there could be a lot of complexity in that because there are so
Yes,
many
definitely.
resources that are possible to be created in AWS. Okay.
Yes, correct. Actually, we can do it drift in via UI as well. Also, actually, we can set up some. We are doing actually drift prediction via Python code. So we develop some Python codes and put it in the Lambda function, and actually we manage it. We schedule the Lambda function. We'll get the we'll update on that. If you want to schedule it on the daily basis or hourly basis, means you can schedule it as per your wish. That's all we can,
okay.
do it.
Okay. And the last one, when you mean resource drift status, you're talking about the specific resource. For example, you started the T2 micro, and then that has probably changed to a higher order machine, and that also it will detect.
Yes, correct. That's what we mentioned in that third one.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Shall we go to the demo session? This is an overview for the CloudFormation as well as the drift prediction. We will show you into the demo to create the stack sets, and we will deploy the stacks into the account, and we will show actually how to create the resources, how to roll out the resources, how to find out the drift in that one.
Sure, Vadivel. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Karthik. Team, any other questions you have? If you keep silence, actually, I can move forward. Thank you. So this is my own user account. In that, actually, I'm going to show the demo for that first. This first one is actually I'm going to roll out the AWS resources by CloudFormation stack. Yes. This is a YAML template. So this is the transform. This is one. This is a default one. You can give it in description kind of things. But the parameters actually, I showed parameter. The parameter actually we can give whatever we want up to 60 parameter we can able to give. So I given as department is we can pass the value as well as we can set the default value as well. So project tier 1, these are the parameters actually I given. Is up to you. You can give anything you want. Up to 60 parameters we can give in this. I mentioned actually I mentioned all the default values over here for department, projects, tier, module, team, and custom. You can give data types as well as default values and descriptions. Then actually we have to give the resources. In the resources actually, if you go to the resources, I am going to create the one of the IAM role. So I gave logical name. The type, this is a inbuilt type by the AWS. We have to give the type name for the resources by this. Then actually you have to give the properties. Property, the role name, the assumed role policy document. This is for manage. Actually, I'm going to add some managed policy in this role. Then actually, I'm going to add the one inline policy for this role. We have to give like this. This is a template, the YAML template. Then actually, I want to create one more resources. I want to create one S3 bucket. I just gave the logical name, the type, and the properties. The properties actually I mentioned the bucket name. So bucket name actually why I'm instead of hard coding, I gave the sub values. If you see department values I gave here, DE. Then a project. Actually, if you give like this means actually the value will be passed through the parameters. Project, the tier 1, the module. Actually, this is a hard coded value which I given. The account ID will be taken from the AWS account. If you roll out the resources into the dev account, the dev account will be taken. If you roll out the resources into the staging account, the staging account will be taken. The rest of things will be the same for all the resources. Then if you want to add some tags means actually you can add it. This is how actually we have to create the stacks for the role of the resources. For example, actually I have shown here one S3 bucket, one IAM role. So let me copy this. I'm going to my account to cloud formation services stacks. I'm going to create a new stack. There's no stacks now. I'm going to create a new one. We have these provisions. In that actually I'm create via template designer. I'll just give create template in designer. And actually I click the create template designer. This option. If you're going by this way means we can validate this YAML file here. We have to choose a YAML. If you're going to put it in the JSON means you can put it JSON. I'm going to put it in the YAML file. I just give YAML and I choose the template. By default is coming as template version. I just remove and copy whichever we copied. I'm just going to paste here. Then I'm going to, this is the icon. It will help us to validate the template is valid or not. The template is valid. Then actually I'm going to create the stack by here. Then click the next and just give the stack name. Then we have to pass the parameter. You can give the parameters by default there itself, or else if you want to give it here means you can give here. It's readable only. If all set means actually you can proceed to next. And click next. Nothing to change here. We can ensure that the key and value for the parameters. Then click all the checkboxes and create this tag. Before that, I will show you. There is no. This is a default. This is a already existing roles. That means if you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only there. In S3 bucket also 4 S3 buckets are there. Once update, once stack is done, we'll check that output. I just creating the events is running. If you click the reload icon, it will show. Just for a minute it will take, it will roll out. So it is done. Everything is done. We'll go and check. You can see the role is newly created. DE demo 1 service exe role, the account ID. This account ID is coming from this here. This account ID. For this account, we have one Indian policy. We just added this one, and the trust relationships we added these here. These are the trust relationships we added in that template. Then S3 bucket. The bucket is created newly. See the timestamp now. Created. This is how actually we can roll out the other resource as well. If you want to create any other resource, you can do it like this. The second one, how to update the. We roll out the stacks. So if you need to modify or need to add something, need to update something means actually we can do it via change set. We can update the resources in that CloudFormation as well. The same parameters actually you're following. Then actually I'm going to change the name, demo test role. If, it is execution role, exe role. Here I'm going to change the demo test role. Also going to add one more trust relationship, EC2 AWS. If you see the existing one, we have 3 only, Lambda, Glue, and Elastic MapReduce. Here I'm going to add EC2 in the role. In bucket also, actually I'm going to change the bucket name as well. So I'm going to copy this and then going to CloudFormation. Here we have to go to change set. Click the change set is empty now. I'm going to create new one. Edit it, template in designer, view in designer. I'm going to put this, then we'll validate. It's valid. I'm going to create the same name only. We're just going to modify some resource. The parameters are same. It will create the one change set for that. Once it is ready, we can execute. It is ready now. We can execute this change set. So it's done. Now we are going to check. If you're going to check means the same role. The name is updated as demo test. Earlier it was exe role. Now it was demo test role. Also, we added the trust relationship as EC2. These things are newly. If you go and see the S3 bucket, the name will be updated. Instead of dev, it is demo test. Yes, the name is updated. So likewise, actually, we can update or modify the existing stack by change sets. The next scenario is the use case is like I'm going to create the crawler. The crawler is depends while we creating the crawler, we need to give the role name. For that, the same stack I'm taking. I'm going to create the one AWS role with manager policies and the trust relationship. Then actually I'm going to create the one S3 bucket as well. Then I'm going to create the one crawler. So while deploying the stack, actually we cannot show that which resources got rolling out in which priority. So if it is going to roll out the first time, if you see, that depends on this crawler will be created after the IAM role is created. Otherwise, if it is created without this role, it will get failed because we are pointing the same role only. This is the role which we are referenced into the crawler. I will show you the difference. Creating without depends on a condition and with the depends on a condition. delete this one. Create new spec. It will get failed due to the dependency. See, it is failed. The error is service is unable to assume the role. This role, the demo one service. Please verify roles trust policy. So what is happened here? The crawler is trying to create, but actually while creating the crawler, it should expect the role name as well. But the role name is not available yet. So what shall we do? We have to create the role initially. Then actually we will create the crawler second. First we will create the crawler role. Then we will create the crawlers. So that actually we are using depends on condition. Depends on AWS role. This is a logical name for this one. This resources. After this resource is created, this resource will be created. So it depends on this role. Further, actually, we are using depends on condition. I'm going to add the depends on AWS role and try to create now. I just added the depends on AWS role in the crawler. It is done. It is created. I will show in the crawler. See, the crawler is now created. The demo one service is created now. You see, the role also created. The role also created. So depends on, we can use it for when the resource depends for another resource, we can use it that one. This depends on. So we have one more provisions called condition. That is actually in a single account, I can show that in the conditions option. That is used to create the which role. If you want to create the one role into the product account only mean, we can put it in the condition. When we are the same template, we can put the condition The resource only you have to create in the product account. If you want to create in the staging account, we can create in the staging account as well. That is used for condition. Then actually we can go to for drip prediction. Prasad will take over and he will show you the demo for the drip prediction.
Vadivel, hi Vadivel, Reena here.
Yes, Reena.
I have one question. I can see you use chain set to update actually, right? To update the stack, you use chain set.
Yes, correct.
But there is also an option updates right there, na?
Where? By UI.
Yes, in the UI itself. So
No,
I wanted to know, yeah.
actually that is not a best practice. So actually, if you roll out the resources by CloudFormation stack, you have to do it via chain set only. You should not do in the UI. That is not a best approach. Because if you did that way means if you and another time if you're going to do it via CloudFormation stack, it will throw some errors. So whatever the resource you have created by the CloudFormation stack, initially you have to do it updation or modification or stack set. You can do it in the CloudFormations only. If you want, if you want to delete the all the resources means if just directly if you delete the stack means it will delete the all the resources. You should not go on to the manually. If you created the 100 plus resources, if you delete the stack means initially it is deleted the all the environments, all the resources in the AWS account.
Okay, then the answer is the other one is a better way. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Reena. Any things we have?
Hey, when we Karthik here, quick question.
Karthik.
Will you be able to delete resources also using the CloudFormation thing? When I say delete, basically stop the resource or.
Yeah, sure, Karthik.
All that is possible. Okay.
Yes, possible. Because in the we have created the S3 bucket.
Correct.
By this logical name. By this name, actually, we have created this one. If you remove this part alone, and if you deploy the code again, this CloudFormation tag, the resource will be automatically deleted.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is again by using the chain set, but then in this case, you're removing one resource itself. So yes. Automatically when it runs the code, it will delete that resource. Okay.
Yes, correct. The chain set actually we can able to modify, we can able to add, we can able to delete. We have three provisions here.
Super. Okay.
Prasad, you want to take over?
Yes, Vadivel. Thanks for your.
Yeah.
Shall I start?
Yeah, you can go.
Yes, guys. Like now we are going to do demo on like drift detection on that like stack that Vadivel created like just before. So basically, like when stack drift occur, when the actual configuration of an infrastructure differ from the like expected configuration. That means, say for example, like we have started on project, and now like we have attached that IAM policy and on S3 bucket and crawler. So in that, like if you want to modify something on that stack means we should be do via like either like in a structured manner, like you say via GitHub or pipeline or like in some other like structured manner. We should not like we should detect if someone change that stack via like AWS console. So that is like demo that we are going to do it now. Means like if someone going to change that stack via console mean we have to detect it. So that's our like goal here. Let me. So for that, like we have like a script in Python. So for that, like we have to uh, place that Python code in Lambda. So basically, that AWS Lambda is like a serverless, like a compute service. Basically, it will triggers like when an event occurs, and it will run our code based on that event trigger. So here I'm going to service which is called Lambda. So there that we don't have any Lambda function there. So I'm going to create one Lambda function by clicking that create function. Look, we are starting from the scratch, so just to give some function name, which is like a drift demo. And our runtime like info, like we have to give Python code because like we are going to yeah, because we written code in Python. Then we have to assign some role to this Lambda function to run our code. So we already created one role that I'm going, so that's why I'm going to use it an existing role. So if you see the two role, one is like which is created by our like previous demo, and second is like we already have it. So this is a role like which you created for a Lambda function. I'm selecting that. So the rest of the things like you can keep it as it is, then create a function here. So if you see here, it will create on bit slow. Yeah. See, yeah, it created on Lambda function with the default code. So here we are going to paste our like a script that we developed to detect the drift. Okay, that I have the code here. Just I will copy here and I will put it there. Then we have to deploy it. That means basically it is like a save. Like whenever you are editing this Lambda function, you have to finally deploy the code. Then only it will get saved in that Lambda function. So before I'm going to run this Lambda function, let me do some basic configuration here. So which means I think that control is going somehow. Yeah. So what I am going to change that basic configuration. So basically this is a Lambda function. If you give the timeout, like based on like our like a script timeout, we have to mention that that time taken here. So basically the drift detection will take more time based on that where we are going to detect the drift. So since like I'm going to detect that drift detection in that policy that Vadivel created previously, so just I'm giving only like 5 minutes. So it don't take more than 5 minutes. So just I'm giving 5 minutes. And also giving some extra memory so that that log will stored on that. That's all. I'm giving save. So basically my Lambda function taking like a two input. So one is like yeah. No, this is something. Wait. No, I think that it is copying the crawler. It's copying the template on it. Is it possible to copy it from here to there? I'm not sure.
One second, Prasad, I will copy. I have copied.
Yeah. I think I'm not able to paste that code here. Yeah, just to deploy it. Thanks, Odi. You can give me the control. I think I'm not able to. Yes. No, still I'm not able to control it. But you?
Yes, Prasad.
No, still I'm not able to control it, that code. So
Yeah, you are controlled.
just a minute.
You can.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So that I'll go through. So that lambda function take like a 2 input, like one is like a stack name, and another one is like a role name. Why it is going? Right.
One sec, Prasad. I will.
Better I can share, right?
One sec. Yeah, you can walk through now.
Yeah. So in that, like we are giving like input. No, scroll down a bit. No, can you go to the main function? Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the main function for this like lambda function. So here we are giving like two input, like two parameter input, like in the line number 73 and 74. Like first one is like stack name, and the second one is the role name. So before that, like before running this code, so he created that one stack. It contained like three resources, like crawler lambda, crawler S3 and IAM policy. So in that we are going to detect that a drift in that IAM policy. So if you run that code now, so it will say there is no drift detected. That means we haven't changed anything via UI console from the AWS UI console. So can you run that code? No, just go to the configuration. Yeah. So here we have to give parameters. So as I told, like we are giving two parameters. One is like a stack name. The stack name we have to give like which we created in the first demo. Like here we have to give that role name. So why we are giving this like a specific role and a role name means like, so for example, if someone created a stack with multiple resources, like say for 100 or 50 resources, if you, so for like for demo purpose, we have customized and we picked only that IAM policy role here. Just a minute. Can you go to that role? No, change that R caps into small, like role name. Save it.
It's demo 4, correct? Demo.
Okay.
Demo 4.
I think you can you run it now?
Stack name is demo 4. Role name is, this is role name.
Okay.
This stack name you have to give. And the role name, whatever which you created, we have to give this role name. Okay. That means a resource name.
Yeah, just to go down and run it. Scroll down, we can see the log here. So it is saying in that, can you highlight that? Like it is like a log, like I have put it in the script. It's saying like there is no drift detected. So basically how it will start means like you have to give the like initiate to that AWS service that I want to detect a drift on that stack. So if you do that first, then it will give one request ID. So in that first line, it is giving that request ID. So using that request ID only, we can get that drift detection info, like what are the like resources changed. So those information, we can get it from that ID only. So now we can go to that UI part. Can you go there? Yeah. So this is the policy we have created. So for example, like one user coming, like say if we created this policy and we have assigned to this policy to everyone. So like if you want to change something in that policy, or if you want to add a new managed policy or inline policy, we should be do via that like infrastructure, like in the script way only. So if someone coming here and deleting some policy means we have to say that like there is some drift detected. That means that stack is not up to date with whatever present in that AWS console. So can you remove the one resource, like whatever it is? Yeah. See, he removed Amazon DynamoDB full access from that policy, that IAM policy role. Just a minute. So first I will show you from the UI like how we have to do a drift detection. Then we will go to that Lambda function and we will try to run our code, and it will shoot. It will detect the drift. So yeah. Can I do stack action? Yeah, detect drift. So if you see that first line, right, it is showing. Okay, scroll down. Okay. So if it is saying, see, the stack drift status is showing like drifted. So why it is showing means like we have removed that policy from that what do you call stack, but via console, not from that what do you call from that CloudFormation UI. So like here it is showing that AWS role get changed and the drift status is modified. And also I want to add one more point here. The drift status detection we cannot implement for all resources in the AWS. So it has some certain limit for resources. He created that stack with 3 resources. One is like AWS role, second one is bucket, and third one is crawler. But here that crawler is not detected. That means that drift detection not support that crawler. So that's what here they're showing only 2 resources. So now we are going to detect this, do this process, yeah, like automatically by using that Lambda function. So in the Lambda, like in the Lambda function, the Python script, like we have written, it will detect that drift, and it will also remedy that what do you call it? It will revert that changes back to whatever in that stack, like cloud template. Can you test it? Yeah. Scroll down. Yeah. So it is saying like see the initiating drift detection, that drift ID get created in that previous line. Yeah, scroll down. Yeah. See, no. Yeah, that yeah. Can you highlight? No. Can you highlight that required manage policy, right? Scroll down a bit. Yeah. Yeah. See, if you see the 2 line, he removed that DynamoDB full access from that policy. Now our script should detect that a drift has happened, and it should revert those changes to its like original status. That means that expected value which is present in that cloud stack. Again, you now go to that UI page. Yeah, refresh it. Yeah, if you see again, it will get added by that our script, that DynamoDB full access which was removed previously. So here we picked only some customized like services from that stack. So if you want to detect all drift in entire stack, so we can like give that what do you call, modify the script by what do you call iterating that entire resource, and we can detect here. So same way you can change that inline policy also, like the same way it will detect and it will try to resolve it. Like he deleted one of the action from that inline policy. Yeah, it will show drifted only. So can you go to a lambda function and yeah, it's showing like drifted. Yeah. Can you run it again? Yeah, go to that log. Scroll down. Scroll down. Yeah. See here. So we don't need to update any managed policy because it is up to date with that stack. But if we have the repair policy, that means the inline policy. So there, like we have, yeah. Scroll down. So we remove one action from that inline policy and it get back added via our script. So like we can detect drift like in this manner for both like inline policy as well as like a managed policy errands. So like the next step is like how we are going to automate this one means now we have the lambda function as I told like earlier like it is like event trigger based like function. So if you want to yeah here again it back added the log. So any questions so far like in this demo?
I will have to leave, guys, but very good demo here. Thank you very much, Vadivel and Prasad. Prasad, right?
Yes.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, it was very useful. I think the way you guys showed the demo was very interesting, showing different scenarios and all that. So I learned quite a bit of things from this session.
Thank you so much, Karthik. Thanks for kind feedback.
Thank you very much. Both of you are part of the ProSieben team, is it?
Yes, correct.
Yes,
Okay. And in ProSieben, do we use CloudFormation in a big way?
Yeah, actually, we are using
yes,
CloudFormation
we are
only.
using.
Excellent. Okay. And are you aware of any other projects in LatentView which uses this?
No idea yet.
Okay, fine. We'll check with Karthik for your job.
Thanks,
But good
Karthik.
demo. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So I will finish it like I think that time exceeds. So like to automate this thing, like we have to go to that CloudWatch. There, if you like schedule it for some specific like time period, so it will trigger that lambda on that specific time, and every day it will detect if it is drift is there. So that's just again go to rules. Yeah, here you can create a rule. Just schedule it like schedule it. Yeah, give the cron expression. Say for example, if you want to give it like on that one, it is like a 2 o'clock at the GMT time. Put question mark at 3 star. No, star. No, star. 3 star. Yeah, see, it is saying like 2 o'clock GMT. So it will run at like 2 o'clock GMT. Then yeah, we have to select that lambda function here, and you have to configure that input. So here input for our like lambda function, which is like a stack name and role name. I can go to the lambda and copy and paste it here. It should be colon. Comma, role name. Put the role name also in colon, like double quotes. Role name also you have to put it in the double quotes or single quotes. Role name. Yeah, every day it will run on like 2 o'clock GMT mean 5. So it will run on 7 o'clock, 7:30 or 7 or 7:30 in our like IST time. So like every time it will check whether the drift is there or not. So like in same way we can do it for whatever like stack we want to detect drift on that resource. Yes, fine.
Thanks, Joseph.
That's what like I have from that drift detection demo. I hand over to this to that Vadivel.
You have any questions? If not, means actually we can wind up the session. Thanks for your kind support.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you, team.